Vespa's alone is about 300 points, isn't it?
Call it 450.
There you go, full.
All right, morning everyone. Let's get going here. Exciting opening, exciting night last night again. Very happy about that. Okay, so we finally got a real correction out of U.S. markets. We'd have a bit of wiggle wobble over the last however many sessions. And we finally got follow through last night to the downside. What's important here is that we closed below the 200-day moving average on the S&P 500. Not by a lot, but a few points below that. That's really important. If I'm not mistaken, the last time we closed below the 200-day in the S&P 500 is about 4 or 5 years ago. So that says it all in a nutshell to me. I'm actually using the bounce this morning in S&P futures to fade the S&P, but after last night's action, we had some other issues yesterday. We've got the New York Stock Exchange, which was down for 3 hours. They're saying that it wasn't any sort of breach or anything like that. It wasn't hacked or anything like that, but it was simply just that they had some sort of glitch. I don't know that I believe that at all, because the Wall Street Journal and someone else was also down at the same time. But whatever. Markets didn't seem to worry too much about it. Okay, so after yesterday, as iron ore dropped, the biggest one-day drop ever of 10%. I haven't actually looked at the terminal. One of the guys are telling me that the iron ore is now up 10% on the day today. So a bit of a reversal off of those lows yesterday. You're seeing a big reversal in a couple other things. One of the main ones to us would be Tencent, obviously, in Hong Kong, which is up 9% as we speak right now, which means about 450 points to our index or something close to that. So that's obviously why we're getting such a big boost in the Aussie right now. All right, moving on. In the Asian session overnight, you see we got a nice bounce out of the Hang Seng and Shanghai finally. China doing literally every single thing they can. I mean, these guys have thrown the kitchen sink at it to try to support the market, which is quite interesting because they said they were going to start to pull away from all of these types of support measures. That was one of the biggest things that President Xi Jinping was wanting to do over the next few years of his term, was to remove a lot of those sort of government subsidies, support measures, etc. They've done everything. They've even roped the brokers there into buying stock and holding it for at least 6 months as part of the support measures. So, it's a pretty scary thing to try to make these companies do, these private companies or public companies that aren't government owned. Right. No corporate action to report today in terms of market data. We've got Japanese machine orders, or had Japanese machine orders better than expected. Chinese CPI a little bit hotter than expected, maybe meaning that rate cuts might start to come off the table for the meantime. We have the Bank of England bank rate at 1 o'clock. We've got manufacturing production here locally at 1 as well. And then we've got U.S. initial jobless claims at 2:30. All right, let's get into the maps. I'm not going to go wild on this thing today. It's just there's a lot of back and forth over the last couple of sessions. One of the things I wanted to look at, I mean, we're just seeing complete capitulation, starting to see, I think, what is more or less complete capitulation in the mining space. So we had Kumba yesterday, which traded down to about 114 as the lowest. I saw it really breaking down the day before below this 128 level, which I showed. Once it got below there, I mean, it was really there's really nothing else to talk about. It just started to bomb out. We might see it come back up and retest. I think what was support now becomes resistance, obviously, at 128. So we'll see this morning what happens with this big bounce up in iron ore overnight. We also saw a move up in bulletins and Oz. I saw of a roughly 2%. So, you see that these are probably going to be dead cat bounces. I mean, please, if one thing you guys have freaking gotten out of listening to this call, whoever is listening to this thing, you would have known that you're fighting a trend, trying to buy mining stocks for the last little while. Not to say there's not a point to step in for a dead cat bounce. Maybe that day is today, but you need to be looking to take quick profits there, and if you start to go out the money, then probably just look to cut your losses quickly, because I don't know if the onslaught's over yet. Same sort of thing with Azor, ARI. So the real question is, have we seen complete capitulation out of these guys? Yesterday's move in iron ore is down 10%, and then that reversal today kind of makes me want to say that yesterday may have been capitulation in the iron ore space. Look, I don't really see prices going up anytime soon significantly, simply because there's too much supply. The big miners are actually, they've been ramping supply for the last couple of years in the effort, I think, to just take out these other competitors, and eventually those guys are going to have to go belly up and be sold off for almost nothing before I think that the iron ore price can start to really rise again. All right, the next one we'll look at is the Aussie. So I wanted to show this. Let's go to the 1 year, sorry. I wanted to show this again. So this is the Head and Shoulder that we looked at. We've been looking at quite a lot over the last little while. What's interesting about this and important about this, you can see we're really coming right into resistance. I would say that the real level to look at here is right there. It's at about 45,320. So wherever somewhere between 44,320, which were the wicks down on these two down days in June, and maybe where that close was at 45,400, that closing low. So somewhere in between there is where I think we're probably going to get up to retest today, I would expect. I'm probably going to look to fade a little bit there, simply because this is such a convincing pattern. This is very classic in what you want to see. You want to see a breakdown, hard convincing breakdown through that, and then a retest like we're seeing now, and then a failure of that level. So you don't want to run it too big in terms of the just selling at that level indiscriminately, but maybe sell a little. I'm going to try to sell a little bit today if it gets up there, and then if it start to turn downward, then I'll probably really lean into it and sell a little bit more. All right, the only other one that I'm going to show you guys this morning is Tencent, which obviously went freaking bananas last night, or overnight. You can see here, so there's we're coming into support somewhere in here, which is really, sorry, let me zoom this out a little bit more. You can see that lines up nicely. We came into support yesterday, really where the 200-day moving average was, and where there was horizontal support here on the maps, and just had an enormous reversal off of it. We might get a bounce up to about 153. We're trading at 146 at the moment. We get a bounce up to 153, and then I think it could be interesting from there. Same sort of thing. That's a major resistance level, so I think it will be hard to regain that in the near term, but just watch it closely. Last one, I'll actually show you one more. So we've got a lot of these gold stocks. We'll just look at Anglo Gold here. Anglo Gold dropped out of some support yesterday in after hours. We traded down to about 101. So yesterday we still closed below this level, which is, I'd call it 105, not 106. Look at 105 there. We closed below that yesterday at 104.39. It's looking like we can come down and retest the lows here. On the back of that, I was looking at this chart yesterday and I didn't realize. So this is Sibanye, and we'll back out here on a 2-year, and you can see Sibanye major support level down here around 1870. If we drop that, I think this thing can get decimated. You can see it turned down yesterday off of around, or 2 days ago, off of around 21. But what's interesting here is when you look at the U.S. chart of Sibanye, you can see that we've already dropped support, and really, let's just get the color on here. Here we go. You can see that it kind of got up there. We actually tried to get above it the day before, and we made a failure there, and yesterday kind of coming back down to drop it. So this is in obviously in dollar terms. So This is this is convinced. This is pretty telling to me. The chart looks very, very similar, obviously, for obvious reasons. It's the same stock, just in different currencies. But you take out the currency moves, and you can see this thing has dropped support. It's consolidated below support. Now it's breaking down. So I really think that this is maybe shaping up to be a brilliant opportunity coming. If I'm not mistaken, they got a production report coming around somewhere between maybe the 22nd and the 28th of the month. We should see a production report out of them, and that will potentially be a catalyst to take us lower. Right now, we've also got wage negotiations out of with all the gold miners, and we could easily move into strikes over the next couple of sessions, which has also put us under pressure on some of these shares. That's it for today, guys. Good luck out there.